Okay, we're going to install some wall lights. I ran the wires above the drop ceiling and drilled a couple holes down, one above each fixture, and dropped the wire down through the wall and put a old work box in. And here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare, the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a switch loop or a 220-240 volt circuit that does not require a neutral. And it's nice to see that the wire is made here in the country I was born in, and I'll show you that. You can see the wire is made here in the country I was born in. That's a good thing. Okay, so these boxes are made for the 632 screws rather than the 832 screws. So we bought some 632s at our local hardware store. So we'll cut our wires back a little bit shorter because we don't need this much wire inside the box here. We'll leave our ground wire nice and long here. And we'll put our bracket on the box with our two 632 screws. And we'll finish them by hand so we don't strip our holes out. Okay, we'll center our plate on the box here. I gotta go up this a little bit more here. I gotta get my hand screwdriver now. So I'll adjust this so it's centered on our box here just right, because we want it to be perfectly straight. Right there is where we want it. 1, 2. Okay, we'll loosen this up so we can get our ground wire attached to our green screw here. Okay, we'll put our green screw into our bracket here. Okay, we'll go around our screw here. Make sure it's around the screw the direction the screw turns here. Okay, I got a kink in here, so I'm gonna have to go back a little bit further. So I don't want that kink to get in my way. There we go. Now it's under the screw head flat in the way we want it. There we go. Now we can strip our black and white. So here in the country I was born in, the black wire is live. We'll strip a little off the black. We'll strip a little off the white. Get our ends nice and even here. Okay, so we'll get our strands out like this. Okay, these wires we don't have to strip them back any further, and this is our ground wire. What's nice about this light is it has a self-detained switch, so we don't have to put a wall switch in. And what we'll do is we'll hook our white wire up first here. We'll take and get our insulation even at the bottom there, get our strands down like this. We'll wrap our strands around the solid wire here like this. Get them even like that. Insulation even at the bottom, copper even at the top. And I'll look and make sure our insulation is up inside the cap, which it is. We'll take our black wire, get our strands out like this, get our insulation even at the top like that. We'll wrap our strands around the solid wire here. Get our copper even at the end here, our insulation even at the bottom here. We'll get our wire nut on here. And I saw the insulation go into the bottom of the cap. So we have them both tight. We have a nice little twist here and here. We'll get our bare ground wire up here. We'll wrap it around our ground wire. Get them even at the top. And we'll put our wire nut on here. Okay, now we can fold our wires back into our box. Get our white one back. Get our black one back out the bin. We'll get our ground wire down in here. Get it out of our way here. Get it all the way back. Now what we can do is we can turn this so that we can put our light onto the wall. Get it straight. Tight. 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 And now we can get our little knobs here and put them on. And we'll just tuck our wires back into our box here. Make sure they go into the box and not outside. Make sure they all go into the box. Like this. We'll put our little knobs on here like this. We'll make sure they're nice and tight. Make sure things straight here. Now we can put our globe on. It's got a nice frosted globe, and this is threaded, and this is the ring. We'll set our globe in here like this, and we'll just tighten it down inside, and that way the globe doesn't get knocked off. So that takes care of light one. Okay, this is the box that's right next to our power comes in. We have our power coming in on one side, and our power going out on the other side. We're going to get our wires out of a piece of Romex here. Okay, so we'll take our ground wires. We got them even on the end here. We'll twist them together. Get our third one in here, get it twisted in evenly. Even. We'll cut them. Now look at the end, make sure I see all three wires even on the end. We put our yellow wire nut on. The little knob went in my wire nut. Okay, so I'll put our wire nut on here. See, I got a nice little twist here, nice even twist. So I'll fold this back into our box, get it out of our way. Now I'll strip our black wires and get our tails ready here. Strip our tail wire here. Okay, I'll get my first two wires, the insulation even at the bottom there. Twist them so they're even. Get my third wire here, get the insulation even at the bottom. See how they're nice and even at the bottom, and I'm getting them twisted so that they're even at the, I'm going to cut them so that they're even at the top. Okay, I'll cut them so they're even with the shortest one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, they're even. So I'll put my yellow wire nut on. Make sure my insulation's even at the bottom. I'll take my yellow wire nut, put it on here, make sure my insulation's going up into the bottom of the wire nut. See, I have a nice twist here. I'll put this back into our box. And now I'll do my white wires. And this is my tail to go to the light. Okay, again, I'll get the insulation even at the bottom. I'll get my first two started here. Get my third wire in. The insulation, keep the insulation even at the bottom. Then I'll cut them so they're even with the shortest one. So see, I have a nice even twist and my insulation is even at the bottom. I'll take my yellow wire nut. Make sure I can see my insulation one in the bottom there. Make sure it's nice and tight. And we can fold our white wires back into our box. So now we have our three wires to hook our light fixture up. So we'll put our bracket back up here. I'll see if I can put it in by hand, but if not, I'll get the screw gun and it will go in. Okay, we'll go in easy by hand so I don't have to use the screw gun. Sign it on the box. Tight. Tight. Okay, now we got to put our green screw into the bracket here for our ground. Put it right in here like this. And our ground wire around, get it around the screw. Close around our screw. There it is. You always put your wire around the screw the direction the screw turns. Tighten this up. Now I'll move this so that we can get our black and our wires folded in. Fold it up like that. I'll shorten these up a little bit because they don't have to be that long. I'll strip just a little bit off here. Okay, so we have our white again, we have our black, which is live, we have our ground, which is bare. I'll strip these wires just a little bit more so I can get a nice wrap around the solid wire. Okay, so we'll take our white wire, we'll get the insulation even at the bottom here. We'll wrap our stranded wire around the solid wire like this. Get our copper even at the top, and our insulation is even at the bottom like that there. See how our insulation's even at the bottom and our copper's all even at the top there. We'll take our wire nut. I'll make sure our insulation is going up into the bottom of our wire nut. Now get a nice little twist down here at the bottom. So we get this back into our box. Make sure our insulation is in the wire nut all the way. Now we'll do our black wire. We'll get our insulation even at the bottom there with the solid wire like that. We'll wrap our strands around the solid wire like that. Make sure our insulation is even down here on the bottom and our copper is even on the top here like this. Take my wire nut, put it on like this, make sure my insulation is going up into the bottom of the wire nut. Make sure it's nice and tight. See how I have a nice little twist here? Fold it back into our box. Get the wire out of our way. Now we'll hook our ground wire up. We'll just wrap our stranded wire around the solid wire here. Get it even at the end here like that. Get them even. Put our cap on here like this. And there we go. Now we can fold this back into our box. Push everything back. Now we can turn this. Get this so it's going straight. I'll get our wires up and over it like that. Now we put this up here so it's straight. Open screws. And this is a locking screw here. Okay, I'll make sure our wires are going into the box here. Get our fixture on the bracket here. We'll get our little decorative knobs on here. Get nice and flat against the wall. Okay, I'll make sure everything is straight here. The wires are sticking out. Again, we'll put our nice globe on here. So Put our ring in here like this. Make sure our knobs are tight. Now we can go hook it up to the power source. This is our box here that we're going to be hooking into. So I'll get our wire going in here a little bit longer. Tighten our Romex connector up. You know what? If you can't do it, you don't do it. You just let somebody else do it. If you can't do it, you just let somebody else. It's that simple. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it longer. I'm going to loosen this wire knot up, Romex connect up a little bit more. Bring this down some more so I can. But if the jacket's too tough and you can't do it, don't do it. Just leave it. But it worked out, so I thank God it worked. I got out where it's nice and long now. And I'll bring it back up in here, get our jacket in so it's not in too far here. Make sure our Romex is not pinched on the side of the Romex connector. And look at my other one, make sure it's not pinched either, so we're good. And we've got to put a green screw in here for our ground. So now we can put this back up in here. This is where our smoke detector is going to go. Okay, this is our ground screw. Get it up in the threaded hole here. Okay, this is our ground wire. We're going to close it around
green screw there, the direction our screw turns. So now our box is grounded like it should be. And we'll take and we will wire nut our ground wires together here. And we'll clip it so it's even with the shortest one here. Nice and even on the end there. Take our wire nut. Now this is a smoke detector box, so there's no ground wire on the smoke detector. Okay, now we can fold that up into our box. Get it up all the way here. Okay, now we can hook our blacks and our whites up. I'll give them nice clean strips here. Get our insulation even at the bottom here. Twist them so they're nice and even here. See how I'm getting a nice even twist. Cut it so it's even with the shortest one. This out of the way. I'll get my white wire down here. Okay, we'll get our insulation even at the bottom. Yeah, I'll restrip these. I want a nice clean strip. Okay, this is our smoke detector plug wire here. We'll strip this, make this a little longer, and get a nice wrap around the solid wires in there. Okay, so we get our insulation even at the top here. We'll wrap it around our solid wires like that. We'll get our wire nut on here, make sure our insulation goes up inside the wire nut. Okay. It's not really straight. I'm going to twist this a little bit better here. There's a nice better twist. Okay. I'll get our insulation even at the bottom here. Wrap my stranded wires around the solid wires there. Get our copper even at the bottom and our insulation even up here. Take our yellow wire nut. Make sure insulation is going up inside the bottom of the cap. Get on there nice and tight. See how I got a nice little twist up here? And fold this back out of our way. insulation even at the bottom here. Get them twisted so they're even here. Clip it so it's even with the shorter one. I'll strip my white wire a little longer here. Nice and long there so I can take and wrap our strands around the solid wire here. Get our insulation even at the top and our copper even on the bottom. I'll stick my wire nut on here. Okay, and then this is our trip wire and that little cap stays on. So now we can push this up into our box, get it up out of our way. Now we'll put our ring on here for the smoke detector. And the smoke detector will go back up after the ceiling tiles are taken down and painted. That little thing just plugs into the back of the smoke detector. So here's the fixture we installed. Here's side one of the instructions. You can pause the video to read them. Here is side two of the instructions. You can pause the video to read them. So from the smoke detector we went above the drop ceiling over to that light. And there's where we drilled our first hole to go down. Then we went over there and drilled our hole down, and we went to that light right there. Okay, now we can turn our breakers all back on because we are done. We turned off everything we wasn't sure of, so we made sure it was off. We just left the one for the hall on, so we got them turned back on now, and this is a stab block panel here. So this is the drill we use to drill our hole above the ceiling. I use that type of a bit because it'll drill a lot easier than a spade bit. Alrighty, thanks for watching. That is how to install wall lights here in the country I was born in that have self-detained switches on them, so you don't have to put a wall switch in. Peace. Thanks for watching.